Does your baby struggle to latch or seem fussy during feedings? If you're wondering whether it could be due to a tongue tie, stay tuned. Today, I'm sharing the key signs every parent should know about tongue ties and how they can impact your baby's feeding and overall comfort. Hi, I'm Kaili, a pediatric occupational therapist, an infant craniosacral therapist, and a holistic sleep and reflux specialist. I help mamas and their babies find balance and ease during these early years. And one of the topics I often encounter is tongue ties. In this video, I'll chat about some of the sort of telltale signs that your baby may have a tongue tie, what it means for feeding, and why this little string or fold under the tongue can have such a big impact. If you've ever struggled with feeding or noticed something is just off with your baby's latch, drop a comment below with your experience. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more baby wellness and well-being tips that support you and your little one. Before we dive in, make sure to check out the link in the description below to download my free tongue tie symptoms checklist. It's an essential resource to help you identify potential signs of tongue ties in your baby or toddler. First, let's talk about what tongue tie actually is. A tongue tie, also known as ankyloglossia, occurs when the tissue, or that lingual frenulum under your baby's tongue, restricts its movement and affects its function. There's a common misconception that tongue ties can be mild or severe, but that's not really the case. What makes it a tongue tie is not just its appearance or how it looks, but how it impacts the function of the tongue. The frenulum could be positioned too far forward towards the tip of the tongue, or it could be too short or too tight or too thick. These factors can all restrict the tongue's muscles and their ability to move and function properly, which is what defines a tongue tie. Now let's go through some of the most important signs and symptoms to sort of start looking out for, especially during feeding. Difficulty latching during a feed. A common sign of a tongue tie is this difficulty latching onto the breast or bottle. You might notice that your baby slips off easily or has to work really hard to stay latched. In some cases, the latch may be painful for you mamas as well, because the baby is not able to maintain an effective seal on that nipple with the tongue, and they're actually chomping with their gums and their jaw. If you hear clicking or smacking sounds during breastfeeding or bottle feeding, this could indicate that your baby's tongue isn't properly coming under the nipple and cupping around the nipple. And this sound means that they're breaking the seal and losing suction, or that tongue is starting to come backwards, which is a key sign of poor tongue function. Babies with tongue ties may feed very frequently because they're not transferring milk effectively. If your baby seems to be feeding nonstop but isn't gaining weight as well as expected, or if they're falling asleep during feeds, or they seem to be feeding every hour, this could be a sign that there's something affecting their ability to feed efficiently, which could be a tongue tie. Tongue ties can also cause reflux-like symptoms, such as spitting up, vomiting, gulping air, or having a lot of excess gassiness. And this happens because the baby is often unable to form a proper seal using that tongue, which then leads to swallowing air, which then leads to gassiness and discomfort. This happens because the baby is often unable to form a proper seal around that nipple, leading to swallowing air, which leads to more stuff and volume in the stomach, which can lead to reflux and increased gassiness and discomfort. The movement of the tongue is crucial for feeding. If your baby is unable to elevate, extend, or move their tongue properly in terms of cupping and that peristaltic wave, it can be impacting their feeding ability. For example, the tongue should be able to rest just behind the top gums and be able to press up into the palate or the roof of the mouth. If your baby struggles with these movements, it might be due to a restrictive frenulum under the tongue. One thing I always stress is that it's not just about how the tongue looks. Function is key. Some babies might have a lingual frenulum, so that frenulum under the tongue, that looks quite normal, but they still struggle with feeding because of restricted function. Remember, symptoms are what truly matter, not just the appearance of that frenulum. Now, I do want to mention that sometimes the tongue can be restricted due to other reasons other than just that lingual frenulum. We have fascia that covers our entire body, all of our muscles, around all of our nerves, and everything. And it's this connective tissue. And there is a specific pathway of fascia that connects the tip of the tongue all the way down the front of our body to the tip of our toes. And if there is tightness anywhere in that fascia, it can potentially affect the function of the tongue. Another thing that can affect the function of the tongue is any compression of the cranial nerves that innervate all around the face and the cheeks and the lips and the tongue. And so, if there's any compression of the cranial bones that compress the spaces where the nerves come through, that can also affect the function of the tongue. And so, when it comes to a tongue tie and whether or not your baby has a tongue tie, we really need to look at more than just what that frenulum looks like. If you notice any of these signs, the next step is to get a proper assessment from a trained professional. This could be an internationally board certified lactation consultant, an occupational therapist, or a speech language pathologist, a pediatric dentist, or a pediatrician who understand tongue ties and can provide a comprehensive care plan tailored to your specific baby. It's important to make sure the assessment includes a comprehensive examination inside your baby's mouth, with the provider actually feeling the tongue and assessing its function and what it feels like. Simply looking inside the mouth or observing how far the tongue can stick out is not enough to determine if there's a tongue tie there or not. It's also important to know that tongue ties are often not covered in standard medical, dental, or therapy school curriculums, including OT, PT, SLP, IBCLC, pediatric dentistry, pediatricians, all of the things. Understanding, assessing, and treating tongue ties requires additional professional development courses and specialized training. So make sure you seek out a provider who has experience and knowledge in this area. I hope this video helped you better understand the signs of a tongue tie and how it can impact your baby's feeding. Don't forget to download my free tongue tie symptoms checklist using the link below this video. And please hit the like button if you found this video helpful. And of course, subscribe for more tips to support you and your little one on this beautiful journey of motherhood. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.